Good afternoon. My name is Karen Freeman, and I will be presenting my paper via video. Now, my paper is titled Underlying Sexism in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, in some ways shows its age. When it was creatively conceived in the 1940s and published in 1950, the world is not as it is now culturally. Racism was more blunt, wealth and success was a steeper climb, and sexism was the unapologetic standard. C.S. Lewis shows that he's a product of his time with the underlying sexism in the novels. With the exclusion of women in battle, degrading gifts Susan and Lucy received, and the implicit message of masculine authority, this novel shows its anti-feminist colors. Whether Lewis was a sexist or not is unknown. The proof is laid out, intentionally or unintentionally, to show the degrading messages to women in his novel. Unless there is some sort of exception, women did not participate in militant fighting back half a century ago. Lewis seemed aligned with this ideology and excludes Susan and Lucy from the final battle and the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe simply because they are women. Even though Susan shows to be a skilled archer and Lucy shows her leadership by finding Narnia, Aslan proclaims, battles are ugly when women fight. This small phrase is insulting to many women who fight for peace and good intentions alongside their country or society. Women have proven that they do belong in the battles, and besides, when are battles not ugly? Alongside the restriction of women in battle, the gifts the two women receive from Father Christmas are implicitly degrading. Susan receives a bow and arrow set as well as a help horn. The bow and arrow suggests that if she were to be in a position of defense, to act accordingly from a distance. Peter and the other men of battle have swords and shields because they are encouraged and destined to be right in the middle of the action. Father Christmas gives Susan the horn, which is instructed for use whenever someone is in trouble. I immediately started imagining poor Susan on the ground, asking for help instead of getting up and fighting, just with the allegory of the horn. In that manner, women are presented as defenseless and in need of saving. Lucy, on the other hand, does receive a close contact weapon, a dagger. I tried to give credit to Lewis with that one, but could not at the realization of how practical a dagger actually is in battle. The tiny dagger is honestly only applicable with setting up camp or sharpening a stick, not for close combat. What made the gift pairing with Lucy even more degrading was giving Lucy the healing cordial. History in the 1950s shows that women were only good in military for healing. Women who were with the soldiers were usually nurses. This made Lucy a predispositioned nurse, destined for cleanup instead of battle. I appreciate the creative thought Lewis put in the set of gifts, but he further presented that women are meant to stay in their suggested roles far from battle. Lewis was clear about his Christian message and delivered it beautifully, but there is one concerning flaw and question about the way he portrayed the characters. Why Jadis, the White Witch, is a woman. It is perfectly understandable why Aslan is a male. Jesus was a male, and if Aslan is to represent Christ, then he must be a male. In many biblical passages, the devil is referred to as a male, the prince of darkness. 2 Corinthians 11:14 says, "And no wonder, for even Satan describes himself as the angel of light." This certainly sounds like Jadis and her cunning ways of manipulation. She lures Edmund with Turkish delight, telling him that she is the good ruler over Narnia. Many descriptions of hell in the Bible explain the harshness and burning sensation of being there among the flames. But what is interesting is that ice gives a similar burning sensation as fire, and many think of hell as an icy fortress, which is what Jadis lives in. More noticeably, she is against Aslan, the metaphorical of Christ. So she must be the devil. With these facts laid out, there is no real reason why Jadis, the metaphorical devil, is to be a woman. By making Jadis a woman and making her fail as a leader, this presents the idea that society led by a woman is destined for failure, while society led by a man will prove to be successful and thriving. This is an extremely implicit meaning, but when you strip Aslan and Jadis of nearly all their characteristics, what is left is simply a male leader versus a female leader. If Lewis would have kept the devil as a male leader, which is what the devil is, there would have been none implicit meaning of male authority over the female subjectivity. It is interesting to ponder about how different the Chronicles of Narnia would be if they were written now instead of the middle of the 20th century. I like to give Lewis the benefit of the doubt and hope for less or no sexism portrayals of women in any of the novels. I like to believe that when he was mentally creating the scenarios of Narnia and turning those visions into words on a page, he did not mean anything about degrading women, and that his telling of Susan, Lucy, and other women were just cultural transcription. Nevertheless, the Chronicles of Narnia is written as is, and it reeks the stench of sexism. 70 years ago, the novel may not have seemed so sexist because women did not participate in battles, had fixed roles in society, and there were less successful female leaders. But that does not discount the anti-feminist message the novel exclaims today to the progressive world. And that is the conclusion of my paper, and thank you for this opportunity to present it to you. Have a good afternoon.